Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today. Your primetime destination. It's the 1st of October and it's a day when the world is seeing Israel taking on a ground invasion into Lebanon. Will now Iran join the war, attack Israel directly? What lies ahead? Also our top political debate, the MUDA scam in Karnataka. What will it do to Siddaramaia's political future? We'll raise that question. But our top story is coming on the very latest of Israel's Lebanon ground offensive that started this morning. Israel has struck Beirut's residential buildings in the last few hours. Hezbollah claims it's launched a missile towards Tel Aviv, and the US has warned of an imminent Iran missile strike in Israel. Israel remains on high alert after the US-Iran warning. So lots happening on the ground there. The ground offensive that Israel has taken clearly has kept everyone on tenterhooks at the moment. Joining me now, Kafar Qasim joins me from Israel. Also on the ground first in Beirut is Ashraf, our correspondent there. Ashraf, tell us what you are seeing around you at the moment. It's evening time in Beirut. Have the bombing stopped or are they continuing at the moment?
Rajdeep, still the bombing from the Israel continues. In fact, just 2 hours back, there was a massive strike in the suburb of Beirut, where the Hezbollah headquarters was targeted on Friday. Almost 8 missile strikes had been carried since the Friday blast in the Hezbollah headquarters in the suburb. Not only that, but even yesterday, the Beirut Central was also targeted, where IDF claimed that they have killed 3 political leaders of Palestinian faction in that strike. Now we are also getting reports from the southern parts of the Lebanon and Bekaa Valley that the airstrikes as well as the mortar shelling from the IDF continues on 8th consecutive day today. And also there is some kind of a response from Hezbollah. Hezbollah has launched a new operation, Labek Ya Nasrullah, means in English, we are here, Nasrullah. That is a new operation which has been launched by Hezbollah today, targeting the Mossad headquarters, what it claimed in Tel Aviv and as well as in the Jerusalem. So a very tense situation all across the Middle East, particularly when there is input from the security agencies of United States that probably within some hours, Iran may carry a strong missile strike on Israel.
Right. Well, those are very, as you said, extremely concerning, as you said, that these missile strikes now on both sides. Hezbollah also claiming it has targeted the Mossad headquarters in Tel Aviv. Israel continuing the bombing of southern Lebanon and that ground offensive. We'll, of course, keep coming back to you, Ashraf, for more details. Stay safe. Remember, it's been 12 days now since Hezbollah members' pagers exploded across Lebanon that first triggered this escalation in the war in the Middle East. Today, Israel kicked off what they are calling a limited ground invasion in Lebanon. Hezbollah claims it's begun its own Operation Revenge to avenge the killing of their chief, Nasrullah. Now an Iranian missile strike on Israel could well be looming. Could Iran enter this war directly? And what would that mean? Take a look.
Major escalation in the Israel-Hezbollah war. Israel on Tuesday launched its ground offensive in Lebanon through limited tactical foray to destroy Hezbollah bases and strongholds. Israeli forces crossed into Lebanon, marking a significant escalation in an offensive against the Hezbollah after eliminating the militia's entire command structure and leadership. Israel struck Hezbollah's missile launchers near the Beirut airport, opening a new front in the year-long war against the Iranian proxy. Dramatic pictures showed a barrage of rockets and bombs lighting up the night sky in Lebanon as Israel continued its aerial strikes. Israeli warplanes bombed Al Sirat, a pro-Hezbollah TV channel in Beirut's southern suburb, marking the first targeting of Lebanese media institution. The invasion followed weeks of heavy attacks by Israel against the Hezbollah, including an airstrike that killed the Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah. The Israeli forces asserted they will not let October 7 genocide be repeated on any of its borders.
We will not let 7th of October happen again on any one of our borders. We will continue doing whatever necessary so that Israeli families can return to their homes in safety and security.
But just as Israel amped up its offensive, Hezbollah retaliated with a rocket barrage against Tel Aviv, declaring Operation Labaika ya Nasrallah, meaning Nasrallah, we are here in Arabic. Amid soaring tensions, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and batted for peace, stating it's crucial to prevent any escalation. With Israel upping the ante against Hezbollah, fears mount that the escalation could plunge the entire West Asian region into an all-out war. With Ashraf Wani in Beirut, Lebanon, Bureau Report, India Today.
And let me get a view from Israel, from the Israeli Defense Force now. Brigadier General Yossi Kuperwasser joins us, former Chief Research Division, IDF. Appreciate your joining us, General. What's your assessment at the moment of Israel's limited ground operation into Lebanon? Can it remain limited? And what does limited mean, sir?
Well, the limited ground operation of Israel into Lebanon is meant to take care of the infrastructure that Hezbollah has prepared along the border in order to make it possible for the terror group to launch an invasion of Israel north, as they call it, taking over of the Galilee. And they have prepared a lot of hideouts and tunnels and all kinds of infrastructure that would enable them to carry out these terror attacks. And the purpose of the attack, this very invasion, is to make sure that we destroy all this infrastructure.
But, you know, Israel...
The wider goal is to, by doing that, is to allow the population of the northern communities along the border with Lebanon, the Israeli communities, to come back to their homes safely.
But General, Israel has entered Lebanon before, 2006 the last time, and it was not very successful, certainly not successful in finishing the Hezbollah. If anything, the Hezbollah appeared to get even more empowered after that last ground invasion. What's different this time?
No, we don't believe that this is going to finish Hezbollah. We just want to uproot the infrastructure they have built along the border. That's that is the purpose of this operation. At the same time, we are exerting a big effort in trying to degrade Hezbollah's capabilities, both its leadership and its lower-level operatives, and its cache of arms and storage of arsenal of arms all over Lebanon, in Beirut, in the Bekaa Valley, in the south, in other places, so that it will be less capable of fighting against us. We made considerable progress in that. We eliminated the leaders of Hezbollah, but still Hezbollah is a big organization, and they are still able to operate against Israel and launch rockets and carry out operations, terror operations against Israel.
But the reason I'm asking you this, sir, is in the past, Israel has been bogged down for years as an occupying force at times in Lebanon. Is there a risk of that happening this time? Could Israel simply go in, as you say, have limited operations and come out?
Well, everything can happen, but this is not the purpose. This is not the idea. The idea is, for the time being, is to enter Lebanon, take care of the infrastructure of Hezbollah in a limited operation from this points of view of size and duration, and go back to Israeli territory. That's the purpose of this operation. In the future, if there's a necessity to enter Lebanon and to stay there for a longer period of time before we can reach some sort of arrangement that guarantees the safety of the Israeli population along the border, then we might enter for a longer period. But this is not the purpose of this limited operation.
General, the real fear, of course, is the real threat of Iran, Brigadier General, getting involved in this war. We're already being told there are reports of missile strikes possibly from Iran that could happen in the next 24 hours. Is there a real threat you see of Iran now getting directly involved in this war?
Yes, unfortunately, the Iranians feel obliged to intervene, and they take a lot of risks here, but they are risking us too. This is another expression of how dangerous this regime in Iran is. Last time they launched 350 projectiles in our direction. This was back in April. Mm-hmm. And now, I don't know what they're planning exactly, but they're planning to do something similar. They were trying to do something more sophisticated, but they failed. So now they are using brute force against us. And I hope the results are going to be at least as good as they were in April. But you never know what's going to happen. So we have to be prepared and on full alert to face this Iranian attack that is imminent.
If I may ask you, what really then, General, is Israel's end game? The escalation seems inevitable. What really can be done for a de-escalation? What will it require to de-escalate what we are seeing happening in the last few days?
Well, I think what needs to be achieved is that for Iran and its axis of evil in the Middle East to understand that they cannot win a war against Israel, and the price they are paying for that is very heavy. And that's why they should rather stop trying to launch wars against Israel. And I hope this will be achievable with the release of our 101 hostages still in captivity in Gaza, and that the regime in Gaza would be replaced from a regime governed by the Hamas terror organization to a regime that would be characterized by peace-loving people that really care about their well-being and not about destroying Israel. Mm-hmm. That is the end game that we are looking for.
Okay. General Kopamasa, for joining me there from Tel Aviv, I appreciate you joining me there here on the news today. Thank you so much. At the moment, as I said, we will continue to track the story, but let's come to the big story at home. The big political story is coming today from Karnataka, where just hours after the Enforcement Directorate booked the Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah on charges of money laundering, his wife, a co-accused in the alleged Mysore Urban Development Authority scam, surrendered the 14 plots in Mysuru that are at the center of this gathering storm. The BJP claims returning the plots won't wash away the crime. The Congress says the ED is being misused against the opposition once again. At the center of it all is Siddaramaiah. Can he survive the storm? It's our other top focus.
Trouble mounts for Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah. The Lokayukt has initiated its investigation in the Mysore Urban Development Authority land allotment scam. The investigation team inspected the 3.16-acre land that was taken over by MUDA, and 14 sites were allotted to Siddaramaiah's wife, Parvati. The Enforcement Directorate filed an Enforcement Case Information Report, the equivalent of an FIR, to probe the Chief Minister, his wife Parvati, the Chief Minister's brother-in-law Mallikarjun Swamy, under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Siddaramaiah's wife Parvati has denied the allegations and even offered to return the 14 sites, stating that no plot is more important than her husband's honor.
ಶ್ರೀಮತಿ ಪಾರ್ವತಿ ಅವರ ಪುತ್ರರು ಆದಂಥ MLC ಆದಂಥ ಯತೀಂದ್ರ ಅವರು ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಕಚೇರಿಗೆ ಭೇಟಿ ನೀಡಿ ಪತ್ರ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆ ಪತ್ರನ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಏನು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ತಗೊಬೇಕು ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ದ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರ್ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಇಲ್ಲ, ಯಾರು ಏನು ಕೇಳಿಲ್ಲ. ಲೋಕಾಯುಕ್ತದವರು ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರು ಏನು ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅದು ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಇಡಿಯಿಂದ ಆ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ನಮಗೇನು ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ.
Chief Minister Siddaramaiah alleged a political conspiracy against his family and rejected all calls for his resignation.
ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಕರಣದಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನ ರೋಲ್ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. ನನ್ನ ಹೆಂಡತಿ ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಬಟ್ ನನಗೆ ಇದು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವ್ರು ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ಮಾಡಿ ಪತ್ರ.
The Congress rallied behind the Chief Minister, accusing the centre of using central agencies against opposition leaders.
पहले दिन से 25 मई 2023 से प्रयास किया जा रहा है नई दिल्ली से कि कर्नाटक की सरकार को किसी तरह से हिलाए, अस्थिर बनाए, कीचड़ फेंके, केस दर्ज करें, इनकम टैक्स, सीबीआई और अब ईडी। ये धमकी है, डराने की कोशिश है, और जैसा कि मैंने कहा पहले में ही, ये प्रतिशोध, उत्पीड़न और बदलाव की राजनीति है।
The BJP mocked Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, calling him U-turn Ramaiah.
The decision of giving back or surrendering sites, that itself is an admission of guilt, since Chief Minister Siddaramaiah is bound to face the investigation. Probably Siddaramaiah has taken the decision of surrendering back the sites. But by surrendering back the sites, I don't think the legal hurdle will stop. He is bound to face the legal hurdle.
The opposition had slammed Chief Minister Sardesai on this particular decision, calling that this is a pure admission of guilt. By returning these sites, it clearly shows that Chief Minister Sardesai has admitted that he is part of irregularities. The bigger question is, it is too late for Chief Minister Sardesai to do this damage control. With video journalist Shivamurthy, Sagairaj reporting for India Today, Bengaluru.
So can Siddaramaiah survive the storm? Can Karnataka's Chief Minister survive the storm? Chandan Gowda, Ramakrishna Hegde Chair, Professor at ISEC Bengaluru joins me. Abraham TJ is the anti-corruption activist. It was his petition that has now snowballed into this major controversy. Deepak Thimaiya is spokesperson Congress. Bhaskar Rao, former IPS and BJP spokesperson, was a BJP candidate in the last election. I appreciate all of you joining me here on the show today. But Mr. Thimaiya, you must answer the question. The fact at the end of the day is the Lok Ayukt has begun its investigation. The ED has filed a preliminary inquiry into the case. Is it tenable for the Chief Minister to continue till such time as these cases are decided? Can the person in the office face such serious charges from ED, CBI and indeed the Lok Ayukt and remain in the chair?
Good evening, Mr. Sardesai. I would like to answer this question, of course, because I don't think that this also qualifies to be called a scam. I think we should make the distinction, because if at all the opposition is calling it a scam, I think it very well knows that this could be at maximum a political misconduct that they are trying to brand it as a scam. But I don't think it's a political misconduct too, because this is about a lady who is not even in politics, and she was never involved in any decision making. She never held any power, and she's the one who lost the land. And all that she was trying to say is that you've already developed the land that is supposed to be mine, and all that I'm asking is that give me lands that are supposed to be in that proportion that's legally to be given, and in a place where it's not developed at all. And I don't think that, to bring in a person and make somebody else responsible and all that, I think that Mr. Abraham also knows it very well. But I think to call it even a scam is a little...
Are you saying that no? Are you saying, sir? I want your when you say it's a scam and misconduct, give me your distinction. Are you saying that?
No, I'm not.
Are you saying the Chief Minister and his family did not get undue benefit from getting these properties allotted
how
to
do you
them?
actually decide it, Mr. Sardesai? First of all, most of the things, like in the 2G case and most of the other cases also, when something is speculative and hypothetical, you don't actually are in a position to, you're not in a position to actually, quantify the benefit. And here, you're talking about PMLA and ED and things like that, where you're talking about, deceit, and you're talking about fraud, you're talking about financial benefit, it. And this was done between a private individual and the government authority. And the government authority, if at all it had done anything, and there was a very clear law available at that time for the government authority to do it. So to be able to call it a scam, I think it's a little far-fetched. Don't you think so?
Okay, let me ask this to Abraham TJ, the anti-corruption activist whose petition in the court in July triggered this off. You're hearing what is being said by Mr. Thimaiya. He says that at best you can call it political misconduct, at best, which he also denies, claiming that due process according to him was followed, and Siddaramaiah and family are not the only beneficiaries. There were several others who followed an existing law which had been created.
Now, Mr. Thimaiya comes from a journalistic background. I posed this question to Mr. Thimaiya, to his conscience. Mr. Thimaiya, your Chief Minister's wife, it's not my statement, it's her statement, 2014, 2021, and the last one yesterday night, she mentioned that her land has been occupied by MUDA. When did she say MUDA occupied? 2001. And what did MUDA do? Carve out roads, parks, and sites and distribute it to beneficiaries. Who said so? Not me. It was Mr. Siddaramaia's wife. And based on those letters by Mr. Siddaramaia's wife, 2014 and 2021, these sites were allotted. Where was Siddaramaia's family in 2001? They were not there because 2004, Siddaramaia's brother-in-law allegedly, I'm very cautious in using the term, allegedly bought a land which was supposed to be agricultural land when, by the statement of Mr. Siddaramaia's wife, that it is already developed in 2001 and distributed. Where were they? Who are they? How do they claim compensation for a land which they were not even there?
So you're saying that correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying the scam, as you call it, is that they got prime plots allotted to them even without necessarily having...
For nothing, in lieu of nothing, in lieu of nothing, in lieu of nothing.
Right.
Who are they? Mr. Sardesai, see, the law is very clear. Now, I'm not going to say, for the argument's sake, I'm saying, yes, MUDA has unauthorizedly occupied lands in that particular survey number. Whose land I'm not mentioning. They have unauthorizedly occupied since 1998 onwards. They unauthorizedly occupied. They carved out roads. They made
and you're saying that, and you're saying
sites.
that,
all this is,
and you're saying that land was not Siddaramaia's wife's.
Let me complete. Now, Siddaramaia's brother-in-law comes into the picture in 2004. The 2005, he gets the land converted. 2010, he gifts. By 2010, it is 12 years past, the unauthorized occupancy by MUDA. Now, 2014, she makes her first application asking for compensation. And till then, not a single soul has gone against the unauthorized. They have not even whispered and claimed that there is unauthorized occupancy. What does the law of the land say? The law of the land says 12 years. Mr. Sardesai, if you have some property and somebody in public has unauthorizedly occupied your land for 12 years, the original owner, Mr. Sardesai, loses his property right.
Okay, so you're saying that for 12 years...
Now from 12 years, till now, even today as we're speaking, there is no claim that there is unauthorized. Who has gone to the court?
Okay, I take your point. Let me for a moment bring in Bhaskar Rao, because Bhaskar Rao, the Congress interestingly says the BJP, Mr. Bomai's government, the allotment was made when the BJP was in power. So their argument is, what leg does the BJP have to stand for? It is the BJP which then allotted this prime land to Siddaramaia's family. So today if the BJP says that Mr. Siddaramaiah is guilty of corruption or his family is guilty of corruption, shouldn't they have cancel these dealings, particularly when they were in power? Why did they allow his wife to get this benefit?
This is a very weak argument being advanced by them that it was Siddaramaiah who got this land during BJP term. By misrepresenting facts, misrepresenting information, he has been able to get all this, and he has put things by virtue of by being influential in that part, and he has intimidated those people and got this in his possession. And mind you, Rajdeep, a thief who returns stolen property does not absolve him of theft. Out of panic now, they are returning the property because they're not going to be able to face ED. Now, Siddaramaiah has a huge so-called hallowed reputation that is an honest, etc., which is a big bogus. He has got over 55 cases, criminal cases of corruption against him, which he got it closed by closing down the Karnataka Lokayukta and starting a ACB. Then finally, ACB, wait a minute, let me complete. And then this particular case also over there, he is going to face investigators of PMLA investigators as well as ACB investigators. Now, by returning the property, in no way he does it. We all have got the highest respect for Srimati Parvati Siddaramaiah across political parties. She has never used any political influence, and it is a shame that such a respected, revered lady has to be brought to this level for furthering their political needs over there. Everybody has got the highest respect. Now, Siddaramaiah has to face the criminal consequences of his actions over there. Just because he closed down ACB, etc., is not. The final nail on the coffin came from Mallikarjun Kharge, who said, party is important, persons are not important. That led to the panic of Siddaramaiah to hand over all these sites over there. It is a coterie in Mysore which is making him do all these things and being benefited. And as regards any beneficiary is concerned, Bharatiya Janata Party says, whether they be from BJP also, go behind them, take the strictest legal action, whether they are from BJP or from JDS or anybody. MUDA should get cleaned, and that's all.
Okay, you're saying whether it's from BJP or Congress, all those who are beneficiaries of this land allotment scheme should face the music. Chandan Gowda, which brings me to the question land. It almost seems land is at the center at the moment of most controversies and allegations of scam in Karnataka, simply because of the large benefits involved, the disproportionate increase the moment I get prime property of this size in the heart of Mysore. Do you concede that land in a way is responsible for what is being called as the corruption of Karnataka politics?
Rajdeep, it's not the most important driver of corruption, but it is definitely one of the mechanisms that is driving corruption, because urban land, especially in Mysore, Bangalore, other cities, is extremely expensive, and it's also a way of parking black money easily. Right? You buy it for X and you get registered for X minus something. It's a nice way of storing cash for future use. And future use in the case of politicians is almost always about bankrolling their election expenses that keep spiraling out of control every election. So it's, in fact, what I'm saying is, ordinary knowledge. Everyone knows it, Rajdeep. And the reason land has become so important is reflected in the fact that so many of our legislators have a real estate background. The Association of Democratic Reform did a survey a few years ago. More than a third of the elected legislators have a real estate background. So there's nothing mystifying about any of this. Everyone knows about it, and political parties use the word winnability also easily. Now the question is, how do you go about making sure that it doesn't prove relevant in elections? And that's what I think, where are regulatory agencies? Actually, very quickly, when the ED says money laundering, it's clear that there's something wrong here. The sites weren't sold. Where's the question of laundering any money? And especially by someone who doesn't own the plots, right? So there is that aspect to it, regulatory agencies being misused, which means that we need regulatory agencies that are autonomous in principle and in practice.
Yeah, sure, but there are two, whether there is money laundering or not, clearly there is enough prima facie to order an investigation. Whether that investigation is done by Lokayuk or whether you can argue that the money laundering charge may be questionable, but the Lokayuk needs to look at misuse of power. Yes, Mr. Abraham, you want to respond?
Rajdeep, very quickly, the letter that Mrs. Siddaramaiah has written last night doesn't ask for the investigation to be stopped. She's saying, I'm giving it up, let the investigation continue. Let's be clear about this. Okay. The giving up of plots is not about halting investigation.
Okay, let Mr. Abraham respond.
Mr. Sardesai, you just posed a question to somebody, and this was relating to the term of BJP when the sites were allotted. I'll give you a small example. A biryani is prepared when all the ingredients for the biryani is all made, cooked, everything placed into that thing and boiled and all those things. And finally, there is a lid which is put on the vessel, and then there is a process of the firewood, burning firewood being placed. That is called I don't know what you call in Hindi. Now, Kenda Aktivi. In Kannada, we say this also. When we put that, BJP's role came there. They did not know what was there in the vessel. It was already closed. There was a little smell, good smell. They thought everything is fine. They did not know whether there was
no, is
chicken,
it that or
mutton,
is it that there were
dog's
people
meat.
across? No, Mr. Abraham, is it that or is it that there were people across parties who are benefiting?
I'll come to that. There's Mr. Sardesai, don't get confused. There are two issues. One is irregularity. Another one is, this case is illegality. The other one, now everybody is trying to mention other political party names, are people who are supposed to get sites in Z layout. Because of their influence, they have got it in A layout.
Okay.
Or somebody who's
and in the case of Siddaramaiah, you're saying
has got 60-40.
In Siddaramaiah,
illegality.
It's illegality.
Absolutely.
Okay, Mr.
The
Thimayya.
other ones are irregularity.
Okay, yes, Mr. Thimayya, respond. Because I think what has been suggested is, Mr. Siddaramaiah will have a lot to answer for. You can't simply now say my wife is returning the 14 plots and therefore the case ends.
No, but that was never said anywhere at all. Nobody is even, bringing it up saying that, first of all, Mr. Bhaskar Rao, of course, a very knowledgeable person, very experienced, and of course he can, talk about law so much. But I think he should also understand, you can't just brand something as a crime and then talk about it, because I think there is more
stolen property.
Word play here, Mr. Bhaskar Rao. But let me tell you,
returning stolen?
For example, let me just finish it. Let me just finish it.
No, he wants to know. No, Mr. Thimayya, Bhaskar Rao wants to know why are you returning the property if there is no corruption involved?
Returning the property is basically because I don't think that it's so important for her to keep the property and actually, relish the proceeds, because she wants to give it away and clear, at least on her part. Because if Mr. Bhaskar Rao says, and also Mr. Abraham agrees that she is an honorable woman, I think she doesn't want to have anything with it. And today here we are very clearly saying, we are talking about Mrs. Parvati and we are alleging something of, Mr. Siddaramaiah. Let me tell you, Mr. Sardesai, because I think it's very simple. I can ask even for the Prime Minister's house or even the Parliament to be made mine, but whoever is giving it to me should be worried about the legal consequences. They should investigate. They should apply mine. They can't just give anything to anybody.
People's court also indicted you. Then finally, ED also
one by one.
Mr. Sardesai, Mr. Siddaramaiah has answered these questions, or has countered Mr. Thimayya. About 6 years ago, when Yediyurappa returned a site after an allegation, after a certain period, Mr. Siddaramaiah, in no uncertain terms, said, he site now wapas kotrodu because he has accepted his guilt. He has returned the site. This is the statement of
Mr. Siddaramaiah. You're saying returning the sites is an acceptance of guilt. Mr. Bhaskar Rao, the question of money laundering, is this a case which should be handled by the Lok Ayukt, or do you believe the ED has been brought in only to somehow create the impression that this is not just about local corruption, there is money laundering under PMLA involved?
There is a huge amount of money that has been laundered. Sites have been allotted left and right without any regard for rules and regulations. And ED is only investigating the proceeds of ill-gotten wealth. So having got panicked, Siddaramaiah has made his wife to return. Siddaramaiah's wife has never taken a decision to acquire 14 sites nor hand over 14 sites. She has only been signing on the dotted line as a good human being, as a supporter over there.
Right.
So plenty of money is there which are part of the ill-gotten wealth.
Okay.
Which Siddaramaiah and his Koteri have
I have 30 seconds and I want to bring in Chandan Gowda. Chandan Gowda, either way, should a chief minister who lays great store, he says, by personal property, step aside till such time as his name is cleared?
Well, Rajdeep, it's up to him really. There's 90 days left for the Lok Ayukt to complete its investigation. yes, it would be good if he stepped down, but it's really, he should take the decision. I don't think there can be a public demand that he step down. It's really his decision and his conscience. Either way, I don't think one can object to whatever he decides.
Okay, so you're saying the 90 days that the Lokayukt has... yes, Mr. Abraham, 30 seconds also to you.
See, there's another incident which happened a little earlier, a few years ago. I was a complainant against Mr. Siddaramaiah in the Hublot watch issue. The moment the issue came up, when I went to the Lokayukt and filed a complaint, he immediately returned the watch. He said, I don't want the watch. I don't want this confusion. He could have done that with this case also. He challenged at every point. He said, no, it's mine. It's 62 crores worth. Why should I give it up? He has claimed it is his. I'm not saying it is his. He himself has claimed.
Okay, yes, Mr. Timaya, your 30 seconds.
See, Mr. Sardesai, I think it's very simple. When the land was, like you're talking about who the land was with and all, it is a practice among a lot of people. And I'm sure that all these things, only after getting digitized, people have been very particular about, like the familial kind of, transactions. And within the, like, what you can say is that, like, the closed transaction rather than open transactions, where the lands had to be converted and given to somebody and, like you had to sell it to someone or what if at all it was within the family. I think there was a possibility that the property was already with his family, and I'm sure that is the case. That's why she kept claiming, because he was there, because he was not in power in any of.
Okay, I've heard your 30 seconds. Yes, Mr. Bhaskar Rao, your 30 seconds.
They have been continuously blaming central investigating agencies. When a crime is there and they have stepped in, let them defend themselves. Why is it that they are saying that they are being cornered over there? That's all.
Okay. Let's leave it there. We leave it as one of our guests said, to perhaps Siddaramaiah's conscience. Does he believe that he must first get his name cleared by the Lokayukt? Should he step aside till then? Or does he believe that this entire MUDA scam, as it's being called, is being used to get him to leave the chair? We leave it perhaps to the conscience of the Chief Minister of Karnataka for now. Today, the Haryana Chief Minister has cleared a 20-day parole for Ram Rahim, convicted for rape and murder. It's official. Ram Rahim will walk out of jail tomorrow. The Dera chief has got parole for 11th time. Sources though are saying that it's been made clear that Ram Rahim cannot visit poll-bound Haryana. As per the court order, and the EC has made it clear, he cannot campaign or be in Haryana. But the question arises, why does he keep getting parole? This is not the first time he's got it. It's a record 11th time. And many believe whether the Dera Sacha Sauda chief deserves to get parole or not. Or is this all being used with an eye on the elections? Let's take a look at this story.
A convicted rapist and a murderer, a powerful godman, sentenced to 20 years in prison for his crimes. The Dera Sacha Sauda chief, Gurmeet Ram Rahim Singh, is set to walk out of jail again. This time, it's ahead of the Haryana elections. His parole plea has been approved by the Election Commission. It's his 11th parole stint in the last 4 years, totaling over 270 days. A shocking 20% of his sentence spent out of jail on parole. The reasons are clear to see. Wielding great influence in Haryana and in Punjab, Gurmeet Ram Rahim's furlough and parole have consistently coincided with elections, be it municipal bodies or state assemblies. In a letter to the Election Commission, the Congress has objected to the latest parole, citing his influence in Haryana, which could be misused ahead of elections. The Election Commission has stipulated that Gurmeet Ram Rahim Singh cannot enter Haryana or campaign in any form, including on social media. But the opposition is skeptical.
देखिए, हमारे लीगल सेल ने जो लेटर लिखी थी उसमें ये कहा गया कि कहीं ना कहीं जिस तरह से राम रहीम को जो पैरोल देने की बात है उसमें उसकी डेट एंड टाइम का जो है वो मामला है, क्योंकि इलेक्शन से साथ साथ जो उसको पैरोल देने की बात करी गई है वो कहीं ना कहीं वोटर को इन्फ्लुएंस करने की जो बात है इसके बारे में कहा गया है।
The BJP says parole has been granted as per rules, challenging the Congress to change the law if they can.
वो पैरोल के नियम है, नियमों के मुताबिक ही दी होगी। विपक्ष सवाल उठा रहा है तो नियमों को तब्दील करवा दे।
For arguably India's most powerful convict, that too convicted of murder and rape. It's clear that electoral compulsions trump not just morality, but even the spirit of the law and also the sentiments of victims of crimes across the country. Soon, his latest vacation from jail will begin. With Manjeet Sehgal and Kamaljeet Sandhu in Chandigarh, Bureau Report, India Today.
So how is it that Guru, or should I call it Gurmeet Ram Rahim, gets bail so easily? Sipal Singh, former IG Punjab Police, is with me at this moment. Mr. Singh, are you surprised that every time there's an election in Haryana, a few weeks or a few days ahead of elections, Gurmeet Ram Rahim gets bail? He's been told he can't go to Haryana, but why should he be getting parole so easily? He was only out on furlough a few weeks ago.
You see, Mr. Rajdeep Sardesai, it's so evident that every time he gets a parole, there is some elections going on. Or there's some, earlier it was in February 2020, Punjab elections were, assembly elections going, he was given a parole. Earlier Panchayat elections were going on, he was given a parole. Now again Haryana election is given a parole. So to say this thing, that he is being parole as per rules, yes, there's no doubt. As far as conduct rule 2020 is concerned, they are complying with that conduct rule. So he has got good conduct in and good conduct in the jail, and therefore he can be given parole as per rules. As per rules, they say all right. But the rules are being made applicable in his case on what compelling reason? There's reason the rules also say that compelling and emergent reason he could be given parole. The total period of parole is about 10 weeks.
He's had parole over the years. He's got 15 paroles in 4 years, adding up to more than 250 days.
15.
And in most instances, it comes before some election or the other in the area.
So you will please try to understand how the rules are manipulated. They say 10 weeks in a year, and in 4 years, naturally, 70 days, 10 into that. And they are just manipulating that particular period is complied during the time of election. He is given parole at the time of election. Then, in this case, first the administrative authority has to give clearance. The administrative authority, that is deputy commissioner or commissioner, this is written. But in this case particularly, since elections are in progress, therefore the electoral officer or the election commission had to give clearance. Now, election commission has given clearance in a very roundabout manner. That as far as we are concerned, we have no objection, subject to the condition the other conduct rules are complied with as per jail authorities.
Yeah, but they have also said that he cannot come into... I'll just stop you for a moment, sir. I am also joined by a lawyer. Tanveer Ahmed Mir is a leading criminal lawyer. Tanveer Ahmed Mir, these rules of parole, are they being used arbitrarily, selectively? Where is the flaw that someone who's a rape and murder convict seems to get parole every time there's an election in Haryana or Punjab?
Rajdeep, it's basically totally in the realm of executive discretion. You see, the process is not complicated. Any convicted felon of a serious crime has the right to make an application to the jailer or jail superintendent of the jail complex incarcerational facility where he is lodged. Within a period of 1 week, the jail superintendent is to forward it to the executive authority. The executive authority then has to take a decision and communicate back to the jailer so that he can pass a speaking order. Now, insofar as a man like Gurmeet Ram Rahim is taken into consideration, just because he's a convicted felon doesn't mean that he's not entitled to the Haryana Good Conduct of Prisoner Temporary Release Act, which was enacted and gazette notified in 2022, and prior thereto also there have been rules. If the conduct of the man during the course of his jail term is first class, he's good, he's doing good activities in the jail, his candidature can be recommended. Now, what Rajdeep you're saying is that why does this gentleman get a parole every time election is on the corner? It's not a matter of rocket science. I don't hold a political brief, but I must tell you, I have represented Gurmeet Ram Rahim in some litigations in the past for about 2 to 3 years. It is a matter of fact that, he has more than, 50 to 70 lakh followers only in Haryana and Punjab. What to talk about followers in the international, intercontinental jurisdiction. So therefore, when you have ardent followers like retired lieutenant generals of the army, of doctors, engineers, politicians, common men, farmers, Dalits, and even other persons, insofar as where the flock will go, well, the organization or its leader definitely has something to say.
No, the question is, the point is who has you said executive discretion. So you're saying that discretion eventually is at the Chief Minister's office? Is that what you're telling me?
It is, when you say executive
or is it the jailer?
It is defined. No, the jailer only recommends.
Right, the final call is the rule. The final call is the Chief Minister's office.
Yes, you can say that the final call is of the dispensation or the executive or administration in power, people who are in the post, in bureaucracy, they are to decide. Now, if the political class puts its foot on somebody's neck, that gentleman, this application will come and it has to go through, well, it will go through.
Okay, that's deeply concerning. As I said, it really shows some of the failings that exist in our system because the level of discretionary powers are such they can't be challenged, and Gurmeet Ram Rahim therefore gets benefits that no other ordinary citizen perhaps will get. This is the VVIP power that he perhaps has even while he is in jail simply because he has lakhs of followers. So if you have lakhs of followers, you can virtually set your own timelines for getting parole, and that truly, as both our police officer and the criminal lawyer have said, is deeply troubling. Thank you both very much for joining me here on this point.